Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Joseph Clark, editor of International Bakery magazine, and today I'm joined by Florian Dutin from Lesaffre, a global leader in fermentation and baking innovation. We'll be discussing baking with Lesaffre, as well as L.I.F.E 2035, Lesaffre Immersive Futures Experience, an inspiring vision for the future of baking that was unveiled at IBA 2025 in Düsseldorf. So, Florian, just to kick things off, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your role at Lesaffre?
Yes, sure. Hi, Joseph. So I'm Florian Dutin. I'm business opportunity manager for Lesaffre and more particularly for baking with Lesaffre, meaning that my role is to understand what's happening on baking industry and all over the world, both at consumers level. So what are consumers looking for the future of bakery? And of course, at our customers level to help them find solution for the end consumers. Just to give you more information about baking with Lesaffre, we have prepared a small video, so I let you display it.
Well, thank you very much for sharing the video with us. I think it's always much more useful and informative when we can visualize things in that way. So many of us already know that Lesaffre has a long-standing reputation in fermentation and baking innovation. Could you give us a quick overview of baking with Lesaffre and how it supports bakers globally?
Well, baking with Lesaffre is present on all continents, and we support our customers, so bakers, from B2C bakers, so home bakers, to industrial bakers with solutions based on fermentation, like yeast and sourdough, but also ingredients to enhance their production.
And could you expand on Lesaffre's 50, over 50, I believe, baking centres and research and development teams? More specifically, how do they help you stay close to evolving consumer and market needs?
Yeah, sure. All over the world and the group, we have more than 50 baking centers that really work close to our customers, so in a different country. So it's places where they have the opportunity to exchange with our technical team about the issues that may have with their production, but also to discover new products and new innovations that will help them.
Well, I'm sure with such a high number of centres across the world, you must make a lot of interesting discoveries and developments. So let's talk a little bit about those, more specifically the baking trends. From your perspective, what are the key baking trends and business opportunities shaping 2025 and beyond?
Well, for 2025 and beyond, of course, usually when I speak about the trends, I like to summarize them around three pillars because there are so many trends shaping the business that it's difficult to speak in such a short time about all of them. But well, the idea is to summarize it like that. First, we are all over the world. We all work in an unstable environment. It means that it's something that is getting ever more and more difficult to predict what will happen in the future, because when I started to work, when we were doing some innovation project, usually when you do the matrix for the risk analysis, you say, okay, pandemic, no, it will never happen, so let's put it and don't consider it. Geopolitical issues, okay, same, we put it, but well, let's consider it, but not so high. And nowadays, it's part of what we must consider. It's the only question will be what will be the next issue? What will it be linked to the environment, the global warming, or will it be linked to some geopolitical issues? It's more when and what than is it possible or not. So it's totally different way of thinking. And in that way, when we do project, we must consider a lot of things related to, for example, the raw materials, where we source it and what's the price, what's the possible fluctuation of the price of them. And especially so when we speak about energy and raw materials such as, for example, flour. So that's for the first trends pillar, this instability and a lot of elements, of course, related to the environment.
And how do you see the issues that you've just mentioned influencing both industrial and also artisan bakers in terms of their approach when it comes to product development?
When it comes to product development, there's different way of considering those issues. First, I've mentioned the first elements are related to raw materials price and availability. We think about more local cereal, but meaning local also often means thinking about the reformulation of the product. We think also about energy. So how to decrease, for example, the times for the baking. So it will mean lower energy consumption. Same when we speak about the times needed for the fermentation, for the proofing. So how can we work on it and optimize all those production steps? That's really key elements today that are very important. And then, of course, there is a question related to how we communicate on all the things related to the environment, the sustainability of our company to the final consumers. And for that, what we see is that it's very important for the bakers to be able to share with their customers some proofs about what they do, not just greenwashing concepts, but really facts and labels to say, okay, we have taken this issue, we are working on it, and that's what we do to handle it.
I think that's some fantastic advice there you've just shared with our viewers, so thank you for that. Now, I know that you're keen to discuss L.I.F.E with us today, and we're keen to learn more. So could you explain what exactly is L.I.F.E 2035 and what makes it such a unique concept for the baking industry?
Yeah, sure. L.I.F.E 2035, it's a concept that we have developed to think about the future with our customers. So the idea initially was to do some prospective jobs with our customers to really think on long term. But when we look at perspective, usually when you look at all the elements already available about 2050, all those fixtures are not very positive attractive, not very desirable. And we didn't want to go through this direction. So we have decided to go less far, to go closer to 2025. And that's why we have selected 2035, because it's close enough to get to have the power to make things change. So we can imagine a positive 2035 where we are happy, which is a desirable future. And we can say that now we have all the elements to go to this direction, and we want to go to this direction with our customers. So that was really the initial idea, to have a desirable future closer to us, so that we can act today to go into that direction.
And just to touch more upon the topic of that idea of desirable futures, how do you define what a desirable future looks like for bakers?
Well, what we have done is that we have built scenarios, so 3 scenarios based on the trends that we see today. So some of them are mainstream trends, like instability of our environment, and some others are more weak trends, so just new trends that we start to see and we imagine will become more and more present and important in the future. And it's based on those blends of trends that we have created 3 different scenarios that go into 3 different ways. It doesn't mean that the future will be in one of them scenario. Most probably the future will be a blend of all of them, and with different faces like we have today. There are a lot of trends today, and the reality is based on different faces. So it will be exactly the same in the future. And we really wanted to focus on those scenarios, on some key elements, so that it's easier to understand and to be projected in this future.
And what are those 3 scenarios based on, or how did you go about putting those scenarios together? Were there any particular market challenges, emerging trends that influenced that?
Yeah, well, for this scenario, we have really used a tool that we have within Lesaffre, that is the Lesaffre Trend Vision. It's a tool that enables us to categorize trends into 6 mega categories. And for those particular scenario, we have selected 3 main categories of the Lesaffre Trend Vision. And it's what is reflected also in the Baking with Lesaffre commitments. And that's why we have selected 3 Baking with Lesaffre commitments, which are Bake for Good, Bake for Care, and Bake for Smile, which are the 3 main scenarios that are shaping our future.
So in concrete terms, Florian, what does L.I.F.E 2035 look like in practice?
Well, if you have been on the IBA booth, what you will have seen, it's really a place where you can really feel the future through your 5 senses, with 3 different parts, so 3 different future. How we did it? First, you arrive and you have the smell of the future. So we have selected specific odors that fit with the scenario. Then you can start reading the press, the news of the day, but of the day in the future. For example, let's imagine that now we have bread sommelier in every restaurant that, in addition, top of the wine, will help you select the bread that will really fit with what you will eat. So it's really the news of the day. And you also have a video that projects you in the future, like what you would have seen either on the TV or on your smartphone, depending on which video you're looking at. And finally, you can really taste the future, eat the future, because we have prepared some products based on current solutions that we have today, but that can really fit with what we have imagined for the future. For example, in one scenario, we have spoken about the mix of the cultures, the influence of different culture from all over the world in order to imagine new experiences for baked goods. And we have, during IBA, presented our Tradizy Panettone, which is a product that enables to do faster, very, very good panettone. And but you can imagine all the things like, for example, I know that Joseph, you're English and you like hot-cross buns. And let's imagine, why not in the future having hot-cross buns, for example, filled with some red beans paste, which is more typical from Asia. But just to imagine how the future can be a mix of culture. So it's really how we have imagined the whole concept through the five senses.
Well, I'm glad you've touched upon the topic of hot cross buns, because a problem for me is that I don't actually like raisins. So if there was an alternative available, with a different fruit, then that would be great, because I do actually love the smell and the taste of the hot cross bun itself. Um, so I did experience the concepts myself at IBA, and it was thoroughly enjoyable, and I thought it was extremely innovative. I'm sure those watching would also like to experience these concepts. So when might they get the next opportunity to do so?
Well, the next opportunity will be, for example, for the Gulf Food Fair. But if you cannot attend to Gulf Food, there are other possibilities all over the world through specific events that we do with our customers. A good example is the one that held in Moldova in October, where we had also the opportunity to present the concept and have a place dedicated to the experience. And of course, if there is not yet any specific event like that that is already imagined for your country, don't hesitate to reach out our dedicated team, because they will, of course, be able to tell you more about those scenarios and how we can accompany you.
Well, thank you once again, Florian. I think you've really demonstrated, how concepts and ideas like these, mixing innovation, sustainability, and creativity, really do help to continue shaping the baking industry's path forwards. I'm sure that our viewers will take a lot away from this session. So once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Joseph.